Imagine a child locked in a bare, silent room, the only marks being strips of blue tape on the walls, the air thick with neglect, no food, no water, no acknowledgement of his humanity. This was the real-life hell endured by 12-year-old Gavin Peterson, whose suffering went unnoticed until it was too late. As someone who's worked with vulnerable kids, cases like Gavin's hit me especially hard. Today, we're uncovering the horrifying details of his story. A chilling account of systematic abuse and the failures that allowed it. If you've ever wondered how such cruelty could go unchecked, prepare for answers that will leave you shaken. Before we begin, I must warn you, this story is deeply disturbing and may not be suitable for all viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. Some stories haunt us that cling to our very souls and refuse to let go. This is one of them, the story of a young boy whose light was extinguished far too soon, not by fate, but by the very people who were supposed to protect him. Gavin Peterson was just 12 years old when his life was tragically cut short. A boy with dreams, with a smile that could light up a room, subjected to unimaginable suffering. This is not just a story about a boy who was failed by those around him. It's a call to action, to be vigilant, to speak up, and to ensure that no child suffers as Gavin did. Welcome to Secrets in the Shadows. If you find value in our content, please consider subscribing, liking, and turning on notifications. Together, we can shed light on the darkest corners of our society. He wasn't enrolled in school. He didn't have regular doctor visits. He barely had a presence in the outside world. The isolation became complete. Gavin was homeschooled, or so they claimed. Behind closed doors, Gavin endured relentless physical abuse and emotional abuse and starvation. The system that was supposed to protect him failed. The people meant to love him betrayed him. We need to ask ourselves, how does a child disappear in plain sight? How does a boy like Gavin go unheard, unseen, until it's too late? Let's go back to when the first alarms should have gone off. Gavin wasn't locked in a room because he was dangerous. He wasn't isolated because he did something wrong. Gavin was confined because the people who were supposed to protect him chose to control him, to break him. Inside that house in West Haven, Utah, Gavin was trapped inside a space outlined by blue tape. It measured less than 3 feet across. That tiny square was his entire world. He wasn't allowed to move freely. The room had no carpet, no bed, no blanket, just a camera watching him always. At first, his abusers claimed it was punishment, that he needed to be disciplined. But this wasn't discipline. This was slow, deliberate torture. The stepmother resented Gavin because he reminded her of his mother, Melanie. That bitterness grew into anger and then cruelty. She viewed him not as a child, but as an inconvenience. She treated him differently from the other children, and over time, that difference became deadly. Gavin's older sister, Melanie Peterson, now 19, has publicly shared her harrowing experiences of abuse at the hands of their father, Shane Peterson, stepmother, Nicole Scott, and occasionally her older brother, Tyler Peterson. Melanie recounted that the abuse intensified when she was around 13 years old. She was subjected to physical beatings, starvation, and psychological torment. Her stepmother once shaved her head as punishment for brushing her hair. Melanie was often forced to perform long hours of yard work and was only fed once or twice a day, typically just bread with mustard. She was also monitored through surveillance cameras and, at times, tied to her bed with zip ties. In March 2019, After a friend reported the abuse to a school counselor, Maloney was interviewed by the Utah Division of Child and Family Services. Initially hesitant to speak out due to fear of retaliation, she eventually disclosed the abuse, leading to a safety plan that restricted Nicole Scott from being alone with her. Gavin's suffering left deep wounds on everyone who knew him. His sister Melani's voice broke during sentencing as she described her shattered life. "I lost my brother and my childhood in one night." She recalled hiding under blankets to escape Gavin's cries, a sound that still haunts her. His younger half-brother, though spared physical abuse, carries invisible scars from witnessing cruelty no child should see. Experts confirm that such trauma often breeds emotional numbness or fractured relationships later. On July 9, 2024, a 911 call was made from the Peterson residence. The caller reported that Gavin had been ill for several days, experiencing vomiting, and was now unresponsive. Emergency responders arrived to find Gavin on the bathroom floor. Despite their efforts, he was pronounced dead at the hospital. An autopsy revealed that Gavin's internal organs had shut down completely due to malnutrition. His body was visibly emaciated, a testament to the prolonged abuse he endured. Investigators uncovered text messages between Shane Peterson, Nicole Scott, and Tyler Peterson, Gavin's older brother, discussing the abuse. These messages detailed instances of withholding food and water, physical beatings, and confinement. The isolation was complete. No friends, no school, just shrinking walls. Teachers had noticed bruises and hunger growls, but his parents pulled him out. His last lifeline snapped. Family members were told he was sick when they asked. Meanwhile, texts between his abusers discussed punishments like grocery lists. They laughed at his suffering. Every basic need became a privilege to revoke. Timed bathroom breaks, rare showers, interrupted sleep. The cameras recorded it all, but no one intervened. Criminologists call this incremental abuse, small cruelties that escalate until each new horror feels normal. Like a noose tightening millimeter by millimeter, Gavin's world shrank until he couldn't imagine escape. The evidence shows deliberate planning. Shopping lists excluding his food, videos of confinement, texts coordinating torment. This wasn't anger. It was calculated torture of a child with no exit. The blue tape stays with investigators. That visible line showed exactly how small they'd made his world. A physical marker of disappearing space, both in the room and in their lives. As we'll see next, that space would keep shrinking until none remained. Surveillance cameras tracked his every twitch while Nicole and Shane exchanged texts about his punishments with chilling detachment. "Make sure he stays in the corner today," one read. Another, "No water until after midnight." These weren't outbursts, they were calculated directives. Research shows that such systematic deprivation destroys both body and mind. Gavin's organs were failing. Teachers began noticing troubling signs early on. Gavin often came to school hungry. He was quiet, withdrawn. He never smiled. Neighbors noticed he wasn't allowed to join family trips. Unlike his siblings, Gavin was isolated, sent to his room without food for minor things. By first grade, his teacher reported seeing bruises. When questioned, Shane and Nicole claimed he was just clumsy. Child Protective Services became involved, but like so many other children in similar situations, Gavin fell through the cracks. CPS failed to recognize how serious the situation had become. The videos showed Gavin being beaten, denied food, and forced to remain still in the taped square for hours, sometimes days, without being allowed to leave. He was seen begging for water. He was ignored. There were clips of him collapsing and crying out in pain while his family walked past him. Some footage even showed his older brother Tyler kicking him while Nicole watched from the doorway. These images would later be described in court as some of the most disturbing ever seen by law enforcement. The videos were undeniable proof of long-term calculated torture. Nicole Scott, Shane Peterson, and Tyler Peterson were all arrested and charged. Prosecutors labeled Nicole as the architect of Gavin's destruction. After Gavin's death, school staff and child advocates pushed for reforms. A proposed law aimed at monitoring homeschooled children with a prior CPS history failed to pass in the Utah legislature. Despite the public outcry, meaningful policy change has been slow. Gavin's case is now cited by advocates as an example of how children can vanish in plain sight when loopholes, lack of oversight, and broken systems collide. The warning signs were there, the support systems were not. Gavin's biological father played a critical and shameful role. He was not just a passive bystander. He was an active participant in the abuse. He helped enforce the punishments, ignored Gavin's medical needs, and failed to intervene when his son cried out for help. The text messages proved he was aware of every cruel decision. He watched as his son withered away, and instead of rescuing him, he helped bury his voice. Nicole pleaded guilty to first-degree murder and several counts of aggravated child abuse. She was sentenced to 15 years to life. Shane pleaded guilty to child abuse, homicide, and received 5 years to life. Tyler pleaded guilty with a mental illness stipulation. His sentencing remains pending. During sentencing, the judge compared Gavin's treatment to a concentration camp. Medical staff who treated him wept on the stand. One nurse said she'd never seen anything like it. Another said, "We failed him. The world failed him." His death certificate lists homicide, but this was no quick murder. It was the culmination of 11 years of methodical destruction. Every skipped meal, every ignored report, every cold text was a step toward that bathroom floor. The happy boy in his school photo, though, round-cheeked, bright-eyed, had been erased long before his heart stopped. Judge Camille Nider got very emotional during the sentencing for the Gavin Peterson case. On May 6, 2025, while sentencing Gavin's father, she started to cry and said, "You were Gavin's dad. You don't deserve to be called that." She also said this was the first time in her 25 years as a judge that she had cried in court. Then on May 12, 2025, when sentencing Gavin's stepmother, Nicole Scott, Judge Nider again showed deep emotion. She said the way Gavin was treated reminded her of the horrible conditions in World War II concentration camps. She called Nicole the architect of Gavin's destruction and told her, "I don't know if you'll ever be released, and honestly, I hope you're not," showing just how serious and cruel the abuse was. Gavin Peterson didn't ask for much, just to be loved, just to be seen. But instead of being nurtured, Gavin was hidden, silenced, starved of the warmth and safety that every child deserves. His light was dimmed, day by day, in the very place that should have protected him. What was done to him is unthinkable, but Gavin was never the cruelty he endured. He was the light that tried to shine through it. the quiet resilience in a little boy who still hoped someone would notice, someone would care. We speak his name now, not because we can bring him back, but because we must never forget. Gavin deserved laughter, adventures, birthdays with cake, warm hugs, sleepovers, a future. He deserved to be safe. He deserved to be heard. Let us carry Gavin's memory forward, not just with sorrow, but with action. For every child suffering in silence, for every voice ignored, for every system that failed to act. Gavin, we see you, we honor you, we remember you. Gavin's story is a call to all of us. Abuse hides in silence, in shadows, in overlooked signs, and sometimes the people meant to protect children don't. If you ever see something, say something, be the voice that Gavin didn't have. You might save a life. Please support our channel, Secrets in the Shadows. Like this video. Subscribe. Turn on notifications. Let's bring light to the stories that matter. Liking this video does not mean you support the crime. It means you care about Gavin, about justice, and about protecting other children from harm. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.